Tonight, lesson 2 is I choose to love. Esta noche, la lección número 2 es escojo amar. And our key scripture for all of this is still 2 Timothy 1:7. God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and self-control. Nuestra versículo clave sigue siendo 2 de Timoteo 1:7, que es Dios no nos dio un espíritu de temor, sino de poder, amor y dominio propio. You know, I really encourage my worship team to be in this and leadership team to be in this and everyone to continue to watch this. It's not the first time we teach it. No es la primera vez que lo enseñamos y animo realmente al equipo de alabanza, a los líderes y a todos que estén y que escuchen esto. ¿Por qué? Porque es fundamental. ¿Sí? It's fundamental. You know, if we don't know this, then we're going to be, you know, a little bit lost when we have a confrontation and we don't know how to deal with that kind of stuff. Y si no sabemos cómo hacer estas cosas y cómo mantener nuestro amor encendido, cuando tengamos una confrontación, nos va a llevar a otro lado. So today we're actually going to see how this will help you stay planted in a place. Hoy vamos a ver cómo esto te ayuda a mantenerte plantado en un lugar, right? Because I believe it is our job to build a healthy environment and a healthy culture inside our church, the body of Christ. Creo que es nuestra responsabilidad edificar un ambiente sano en la casa de Dios. How many of you know that if your children are in a bad mood and they're all cranky, the house environment goes down, even if you're in a good mood? Aunque tú estés de buen humor, si tus hijos y todos en la casa están de enojones y llorones, el ambiente de la casa se va hacia abajo, ¿verdad? So that's why we all need to know this. Not just pastors, not just leaders, but everyone. And that way, when we speak, when we talk to others, you know, we're teaching them the same thing. How does God love well? Y cuando le enseñamos a los demás, cuando hablamos con los demás, sabemos cómo mantener nuestro amor encendido y damos un ejemplo. You know, it's no longer just I felt so loved because when I walked through the door, somebody greeted me. It's like, I've been here for 10 years and love is in the air. No es solamente el saludo de cuando uno entra por la puerta y me sentí amado, sino que puede decir uno, yo llevo aquí 10 años y el amor está en el aire, ¿sí? Because it's the love of God, right? He is love. Okay, so first of all, we're going to touch on the 5 love languages really quickly. Primeramente vamos a tocar un poco de los 5 lenguajes del amor. If you've never heard about the 5 love languages, I'm going to give you a quick synopsis. Si nunca has oído los 5 lenguajes del amor, te voy a dar un pequeño resumen. It is like you have a gas tank, but it is a love tank. Es como que tienes un tanque de amor, pero es un tanque de gasolina, pero es de amor, right? We were created, we were wired. This is scientifically proven. We were wired for love. Fuimos cableados, científicamente probado esto para vivir en un ambiente de amor. Which means that when we are in an environment of fear, we fall into dysfunction. We don't function well. We start breaking down. Lo que quiere decir que cuando estamos en un ambiente de temor, empezamos a caer en disfunción y no funcionamos bien. Nos empezamos a quebrar, a romper, a herir. That's why there are so many people broken and hopeless and hurt and wounded and bitter. Por eso hay tanta gente en el mundo que está amargada, que está sin esperanza, que está triste, que está deprimida. ¿Sí? So we were created for love. So we all have a love tank, right? And in this love tank, there's 5 love languages. You know, you can read the books, you can look them up online, you can do the test. Puedes hacer la prueba en internet, puedes buscar el libro y todo eso. Pero these are the 5 love languages: is words of affirmation, touch, quality time, gifts, and acts of service. Son palabras de afirmación, afecto físico, tiempo de calidad, regalos y acto de servicio. Those are the main 5 love languages, okay? When your love tank isn't full, let me say it this way. When your love tank is running on empty, anxiety rises. Cuando tu tanque de amor está vacío, la ansiedad en la relación empieza a incrementar. You feel anxiety in the relationship. You feel like stressed out. You feel you're not functioning well because you're running on empty. Andas medio vacío, entonces no andas funcionando muy bien. Okay? Now, I want you to write down what your love language is right there. ¿Cuál es tu lenguaje de amor? Escríbelo ahí. And then, if you're married, I want you to write down what's your spouse's love language. You don't know, you need to find out. Entonces, quiero que escribas ahí cuál es tu lenguaje de amor. ¿Cuál es el que más te llena? Which is the one that speaks to you, I love you the most? ¿Cuál es el que te dice a ti, te amo más? ¿Sí? Y después, si estás casado, escribe el de tu esposa o tu esposo. And if you're not married, then maybe write down the one of your closest relationship, your closest friend. Tal vez escribe el de tu mejor amigo, el de tu amigo más cercano si no estás casado. Right. Let's see if you know it, okay? Now, let me just give you a little bit of what words of affirmation is when you feel most love with words of encouragement. Las palabras de afirmación es cuando te sientes más amado, cuando alguien te da una palabra de ánimo y te dice, tú eres maravilloso, you're wonderful, and that just like, shoo, you know, fills you up. Tal vez tal vez, we love you, Nick. Tal vez es el afecto físico. Maybe you just love that hug, you know, and or that shoulder rub. Tal vez a ti te encanta ese abrazo o ese masajito en los hombros, you know, and that's just what makes you feel most loved. Maybe that's your primary love language. Tal vez ese es tu lenguaje de amor principal. When your wife holds your hand walking down the street, that just makes you feel like you could fly. Cuando tu esposa te agarra de la mano a cruzar por la calle y cuando están caminando en el parque y eso te hace sentir como, wow, lleno, ¿verdad? Maybe it is quality time. Maybe what says I love you to you is when somebody sits with you and spends some really good quality time just having good, deep conversation. Tal vez es tiempo de calidad. Cuando alguien se sienta contigo y pasa un muy buen tiempo de calidad hablando, teniendo una muy buena conversación. Maybe it is gifts. And gifts, it's not about the size, but it's about the thought, right? Somebody took the time to stop and get something that they know you like. Tal vez es el regalo y no es algo que sea grande, sino es algo que dices, wow, se tomaron el tiempo y se detuvieron y me trajeron un regalo. ¿Verdad? And maybe that's what makes you feel the most loved. And maybe it is acts of service. Tal vez son los actos de servicio. And acts of service is when they bring you breakfast in bed. Y tal vez es cuando te traen desayuno en la cama. Or when they do something for you that you didn't have to do. Cuando hacen algo por ti que tú no tuviste que hacer. Y eso es lo que más te sientes amado. You know, this is my wife's love language. Este es uno de los lenguajes principales de mi esposa. One of her main ones, right? And so I can tell her all day, I can sing to her, you are so beautiful to me. And I could tell her how gorgeous she is. Y le puedo decir lo hermosa que es y lo maravillosa que es. And she likes it. It's okay. But it's not the main thing. To her, if I really want to say I love you, you know, grab the vacuum. A ella, si realmente le quiero decir te amo, tengo que agarrar la aspiradora, right? Or a house project, or do something for her that she doesn't have to do, o hacer algo que ella ya no tenga que hacer, right? And this is what happens a lot of time in marriages or relationships is that we don't know each other's love language. A veces en las relaciones o matrimonio no sabemos el lenguaje del amor de otro. And we make no effort to find out or to speak their love language. Y no hacemos ningún esfuerzo para averiguarlo o para hablar su lenguaje de amor. And what ends up happening is we're running lives on empty. Anxiety is high in the environment. Estamos andando vacíos. La ansiedad está por los cielos. And then what ends up happening is you don't feel love. You don't ever feel love, even though they keep telling you I love you because it's in a different language. Y nunca te sientes amado aunque te siguen diciendo te amo porque te están hablando en un idioma diferente. So a lot of times people take the selfish attitude of say, you know what, this is how I'm saying I love you. If you can't understand it, then it's your problem, right? I tell you I love you every day. Tal vez tú dices, así soy yo. Te digo todos los días que te amo y si no lo entiendes ni modo. But that is selfish love. Because selfless, you lay down your life to speak their language. En un amor que no es egoísta, pone su vida por debajo para hablar el lenguaje que les habla a ellos. Right? If you hate mint chocolate, and I bring you a ton of mint chocolate, how good does it do? What good is that? It's like, right? It doesn't mean anything. like, whatever. I brought you mint chocolate. Your problem. You have issues. Y si digo, pues no me importa. No te gustó lo que te traje, te amuelas. No, that's not Christ-like, right? That's not Jesus' kind of love. So those are the love languages. Learn your spouse's love language and make an effort to speak it. Or whoever it is. We try to find out what our leaders and worship teams and people and people that we're in a relationship, we try to find out what their love language is, to make an effort. Nos gusta a nosotros ver cuál es el lenguaje de amor de nuestros líderes y el lenguaje de amor de la gente con la que tenemos relaciones para hablar su lenguaje del amor. Right? So, I love you messages drive down the anxiety and create safety. Mensajes que dicen te amo disminuyen la ansiedad y crean seguridad. ¿Sí? When you feel loved, you feel safe. Cuando te sientes amado, te sientes seguro. When you feel loved, you feel safe. When you don't feel loved, you feel insecure, you feel anxiety. Cuando no te sientes amado, sientes ansiedad, no sientes seguridad, no sientes protección. Because remember, the perfect love of God casts out fear. But when there is no love, there is fear. Cuando no hay amor, hay temor. Have you ever heard somebody say like, oh, they're on a short fuse. Están en una mecha muy corta. It's because there's anxiety. Because they don't feel loved. Es porque hay ansiedad y no se sienten amados. Okay, let's move on to the fight, a dance between fear and love. El baile entre el amor y el temor. Humans develop 3 classic reactions to the threat of pain: fight, flight, or freeze. Las personas desarrollan o usan 3 reacciones básicas o clásicas ante el temor del dolor. Luchan, huyen o se paralizan. This is like, we were created for love. We learned fear. Fuimos creados para el amor. Aprendimos el temor. Something we learned one point or another. For example, classic example. When the child does not know the stove is hot and mom tells them, don't touch the stove, the stove is hot. El ejemplo clásico, cuando el niño no sabe que la estufa está caliente y mamá le dice, no toques la estufa porque está caliente. And he goes and he has to test it. Y va y lo tiene que probar. Y pone su mano en la estufa and he puts his hand on the stove and he burns in his hand. He now learned that is really bad. And he is now afraid of pain. Él acaba de aprender que realmente la estufa estaba caliente y ahora tiene temor del dolor. Right? We are afraid of pain. We don't want to be hurt. No queremos lastimarnos. So we learn fear. Aprendemos el temor a una edad temprana. And then these reactions to the threat of pain is, you see them active in relationships all the time. Estas reacciones a la amenaza, ¿sí?, o al potencial del dolor, las vemos activas en muchas cosas. Uno es el luchar. Unos, cuando va a haber dolor, se ponen agresivos y pelean. Some fight. They get aggressive. Some flight. Gone. Algunos huyen y nunca los vuelves a ver. I feel like I'm about to get hurt. Time to find another church. Siento que me van a lastimar. Es hora de encontrar otra iglesia. Right? That's what happens all the time. Because we don't know how to deal with this. We don't know how to do life with humans. No sabemos hacer la vida con humanos. Entonces vamos y huimos. Right? I was going to get hurt in that relationship, so I just ran away. Never called them, never talked to them again. Just like, gone. Because I'm afraid I'll get hurt. Tengo miedo de ser herido. So we never really deepen in relationships. Nunca realmente vamos más profundo en las relaciones. And then the third one is freeze, paralyzed. Y el tercero es que se paralizan, ¿verdad? They do nothing, so they become passive. Se hacen pasivos. Some powerless tools to deal with pain. Okay, so remember we talked about powerful people and powerful relationships last week. La semana pasada hablamos de gente poderosa y relaciones poderosas. Okay, but powerless tools to deal with pain and the fear of pain are control, manipulation, removal of freedom, threats, and withholding love. Herramientas no poderosas, porque la semana pasada hablamos de relaciones poderosas y de personas poderosas. Remember, you are powerful. Recuerda que tú eres poderoso. Herramientas no poderosas para enfrentar o lidiar con el dolor y el temor del dolor son control, manipulación, remover libertad, amenazas y retención de amor. You know, and sadly, these are so often used as a normal parenting with children. Y tristemente muchas de estas son usadas como algo normal cuando estamos educando hijos. So it's really sad because then your child learns that there's only one powerful person in the house. Tu hijo aprende que solamente puede haber una persona poderosa en la casa. And that person is mom or dad. Y esa persona es mamá o papá. And if you don't comply, then you will lose. Y si tú no te adaptas y no obedeces, vas a perder. And you will suffer one of these things. You know, maybe they will withhold love. Tal vez van a retener amor. Tal vez van a ser amenazas. Maybe it'll be threats. Or maybe it'll be the removal of freedom. And we use these threats and we use these powerless tools sometimes, or we have, or they did with you, o tal vez lo hicieron contigo, lo hiciste tú, to raise children. And sometimes, you know, we were talking last week about the bad guy and the victim and the rescuer. Estamos hablando la semana pasada del malo y de la víctima, el abusador y el rescatador. Y ellos usan esas herramientas. They use these type of tools because they're trying to control people. Están tratando de controlar gente. We're going to go into that in just a moment. Many learned in their childhood that only one person gets to be powerful in the relationship and that we can and should control other people. ¿Sí? Muchos aprendieron en su infancia que solo una persona puede ser poderosa en la relación y que podemos y debemos controlar a otras personas. Fear-based reactions to pain are instinctive. Just like we were talking about the stove, right? I mean, first time you go and do it on your own. La primera vez tú pones la mano en la estufa. But second time, if somebody's trying to put your hand on the stove, you're screaming. You're like pulling the other way, right? Si alguien trata de poner tu mano sobre la estufa caliente, tú estás gritando y tratando de ir para el otro lado. Because why? Because you know there's pain. You're afraid of pain. Fear-based reactions to pain are instinctive from childhood. You learn to fear pain and therefore avoid the threat of pain. So we learn to avoid even the slightest threat of pain. Aprendemos a evadir hasta la más pequeña amenaza de dolor. One of the things we teach here is to learn how to be vulnerable. Healthy kind of vulnerable. Una de las cosas que aprendemos aquí es cómo ser saludablemente vulnerable, right? Because the thing is, vulnerability can be scary. La vulnerabilidad puede dar miedo. But if we don't learn how to be vulnerable, we build up a wall that also keeps out love and good relationships out. Si no aprendemos a ser vulnerables, construimos un muro que también mantiene afuera las relaciones que enriquecen nuestra vida. So some people say, well, I'll never get hurt again. Mucha gente dice, nunca me van a lastimar otra vez. And they build up a wall. And the same wall that keeps them from getting hurt is the same wall that keeps them from having real relationships. So all they end up having is social media, Facebook kind of relationships. Construyen un muro que mantiene fuera la vulnerabilidad y los protege de ser lastimados, pero al mismo tiempo los mantiene viviendo una vida falsa. No tienen relaciones reales o genuinas. Nobody really knows them anymore. Nadie más los conoce. You don't really know what's going on inside. You only know what's going on right here. No sabes lo que está sucediendo adentro de la persona, solamente sabes lo que está sucediendo aquí afuera. And we all have a desire to be known. Y todos tenemos un deseo de ser conocidos. Everybody has a desire to be known, but they're afraid to let people in because of the threat of pain. Y todos quieren ser conocidos, pero les da miedo dejar a alguien entrar por el temor al dolor. Number 7, if you want to preserve and strengthen relationships, you must learn to respond instead of react to the fear and pain. Número 7, si quieres preservar y fortalecer relaciones, debes aprender a responder en vez de reaccionar al temor y al dolor. Can't control the events and circumstances of life, but you can control your reaction. No puedes controlar las circunstancias y los eventos de la vida que suceden a tu alrededor, pero puedes controlar tu reacción. I drive this into my kids and I tell them, reaction is key. Reaction is key. Les digo a mis hijos constantemente, la reacción es clave. La reacción es clave. Something can happen to you, but the way you react, that will determine a whole lot more. A whole lot more. I remember what story should I tell? Gosh. What story should I not tell? ¿Qué historia debería contar o no contar? First year of marriage, we got into this argument. I don't even know what it was about. Primer año de matrimonio, estábamos en una discusión. We lived in this apartment on the west side. Vivíamos en un departamento en el lado oeste de la ciudad. And, you know, they just have these like paper thin doors. Tienen estas puertas como súper delgaditas. Y recuerdo que yo me enojé tanto. I remember I got so upset that I went like this to the door. And I punched the hole. Le hice así a la puerta y le pegué tan duro. Y le hice un hoyo a la puerta. And I was shocked. I was like, I can't believe I did that. I can't believe that I did that. And I went down a really dark hole of condemnation of how out of control, how crazy, how could I, how possibly could I have done something like that, and how dumb I am, and I'm the worst. And my reaction was like, the reaction to the reaction was worse and worse. And it was so toxic, like even affected my body and just like, you know, how I felt. Le pegué un hoyo a esta puerta y mi reacción fue terrible y me empecé a sentir súper condenado y súper mal y empecé a sentir hasta en mi cuerpo como las reacciones de que las consecuencias de lo que había hecho. You know, not to even say that I had to pay hundreds of dollars to replace that. Sin hablar del costo de cientos de dólares que tuve que pagar para reemplazar eso. But reaction is key because reaction could just take us down like, you know, it could be like, it could stop right there, or your reaction could be like you just jumping off a water slide, you know, like 100-foot water slide, and then just, who knows where you're going to end up. Puede ser como que ahí termina, porque controlas tu reacción y respondes, o te avientas de un tobogán altísimo y esa es tu reacción y no sabes dónde va a acabar. Reaction is key, because we can't control the events and circumstances around us, but we can control our reaction. No podemos controlar las circunstancias a nuestro alrededor muchas veces, pero sí podemos controlar nuestra reacción. And we need to learn how to respond instead of react. And this is a key principle for tonight. Eso es un principio clave para esta noche. You know, how many times do you want to react to someone or something, right? And you know you shouldn't. It happened to me today. Me pasó a mí hoy. I was in a conversation. Estaba en una conversación y recibí una respuesta. And I received this answer. And I was about to just rebuttal. Estaba a punto de dar una respuesta. A very true answer. Una respuesta muy verdadera. I was about to say something like, well, reality is what you make out of it. Which is very sound, very true, right? You know? Estaba a punto de decirle a esta persona, bueno, tu realidad es lo que tú haces de ella. Es un punto muy bueno, muy verdadero. But thank God for the Holy Spirit. You know, I was like, hold on, that would be a reaction. And even though it sounds good, it might not be good to say it right now or ever. Y aunque sonaba bien, dije, no, esto sería una reacción. Y tal vez no sea bueno decirlo ahora o nunca. So I stopped myself from it. Así que me detuve. Because at that moment I realized right now I have to once again choose relationship over being right. Y en ese momento dije, ahorita tengo que escoger relación por encima de tener la razón. And we will cross that intersection many times. You can be right or you can preserve the relationship. Puedes tener la razón o puedes preservar la relación. And our flesh wants to be right. Nuestra carne quiere estar bien. We want to win. Queremos ganar. We want to be able to say, I told you so. Queremos poder decir, te lo dije. Right? I mean, marriage, with your children, at church, en el matrimonio, con tus hijos en la iglesia. How many times I've had to choose like, you know what? No, it's okay. I don't have to win this argument because I know this is going to be a deal breaker. You know, sometimes people are just open. They want to hear. They're ready for it. They're mature. A veces la gente está lista para recibir, quiere oír y está invitando la crítica constructiva. But sometimes that's not the case. Pero a veces ese no es el caso. A lot of times, you know. So that's when we choose to love well and we choose relationship instead of being right. Amen? Okay. Powerful people can respond with love in the face of pain and fear. La gente poderosa puede responder con amor incluso frente al dolor y el temor. So who's powerful here, right? Because 2 Timothy 1:7 says, I've been given a spirit of power, love, and self-control, not of fear. Porque 2 Timoteo 1:7 me dice que Dios me ha dado un espíritu de poder, amor, dominio propio, no de temor. So I got to learn how to catch myself. Necesito aprender a cacharme a mí mismo. Whenever I am speaking, acting, or reacting, and it's coming out of fear, I need to stop. Cuando viene de temor, necesito detenerme. Because that's not where I operate. De ahí no es de donde yo opero. Fear of being wrong, fear of what they'll say about me if I don't do or react or respond, fear of temor de lo que van a decir de mí, temor de cómo me vaya a ver, de que vaya a verme como que yo estaba mal. Temor. It's fear. So you're powerful and you can respond with love even in the face of pain and fear. Puedes responder con amor en frente del dolor y del temor. Because love casts out fear. Porque el amor echa fuera el temor. See, people are expecting not love as a response. La gente no está esperando amor en una respuesta. You know, they're just expecting what you get in the world. You know, what you get anywhere. It's going to get ugly and it's going to be over. Se va a poner feo y because people are powerless, porque mucha gente no tiene poder. Responsibility, the ability to respond. La responsabilidad es la habilidad de responder, ¿verdad? Está en la palabra, it's even in the word. Are you able to respond instead of react? Tienes la capacidad de responder en vez de reaccionar, right? Can you hold yourself back from hitting send? Read it, sleep on it, show it to your wife. No mandes el correo electrónico. No mandes el mensaje. Duerme, pasa la noche. Enséñaselo a tu esposa, a tu esposo. Pregúntale al Espíritu Santo, ask the Holy Spirit, right? That's wise. Because we are powerful, not because we're weak. The world has said, you know, like that looks like weak. That's not weak. That you're powerful. We're going to see why that's powerful. Vamos a ver por qué eso es poderoso. In order to respond in love, you must train your mind to think, your will to choose, and your body to obey. Okay? So here's the key. We want to learn how to respond in love in the fear in the face of pain and fear. Queremos aprender cómo responder en amor cuando estamos frente al temor y al dolor. ¿Cómo hacemos esto? How do we do this? We must train our mind to think, our will to choose, because it's going to be hard. I mean, it's hard to make that choice. Es difícil hacer esa decisión muchas veces. And your body to obey, y tu cuerpo a obedecer. In other words, en otras palabras, obey. Obedece. This is good? I know it's really basic, but we use it all the time. We just go back to this stuff. 11. You cannot control others. The only person you can control on a good day is you. No puedes controlar a otros, número 11. Perdón, el 10 dije, para poder responder en amor debes entrenar tu mente para pensar, tu voluntad para escoger y tu cuerpo para obedecer. Es difícil escoger, pero necesitamos escoger. So you cannot control others. The only person you can control on a good day is you. No puedes controlar a otros. La única persona que puedes controlar en un buen día eres tú. You know why? Because God didn't give you power to control anyone else. Dios no te dio poder para controlar a nadie más. That's called witchcraft. Eso se llama brujería. Manipulación. Manipulation is a form of witchcraft, isn't it? All right, what's witchcraft? Let's do a spell to make him do something he doesn't want to do. Oh, wait a minute. That sounds like manipulation and control. Vamos a hacer un hechizo para hacer que esa persona haga algo que no quiere hacer. Eso es manipulación y control. But God didn't give us the spirit of fear. He gave us a spirit of power, love, and self-control. Dios nos dio poder, no de temor. Perdón, no nos dio espíritu de temor, sino de poder, amor y de dominio propio. De dominio propio. Here's what happens. A lot of times, muchas veces, when people can't control themselves, they're frustrated, so they try to control others. Muchas veces lo que pasa es que cuando la gente no puede controlarse a sí misma, quiere controlar a los demás. Can't even control yourself, you're trying to tell others what to do. Ni siquiera puedes decirte a ti qué hacer y andas tratando de decirle a otros qué hacer. Because they get some power from it. They get the feel, they feel their needs from it. That's where the abuser comes. De ahí viene mucho la personalidad del abusador, ¿sí? Que trata de controlar a otros para cumplir sus necesidades. If you believe you can be controlled, you will also believe that you can control others. Si tú crees que puedes ser controlado, también creerás que puedes controlar a otros. And that is such a problem of childhood. Eso es un problema de niñez. Porque si a ti te controlaban con temor y amenazas, because if you were raised and you were controlled with fear and threats and, the threat of pain and withholding of love and the removal of freedom and all this stuff, and this is how you were controlled, then you grow up believing that you can control others. Si a ti te controlaban de chiquito y te controlaban con las amenazas y con los chanclazos y los cinturonazos y con el temor del castigo, si tú controlas a tus hijos con temor de todo esto, tú entonces crees que también puedes ser controlado. Y subconscientemente crees en el control. And you subconsciously believe in this, in control. Control of other people. Hey, I got to tell you, that's how I started parenting. Así es como yo empecé a educar a mis hijos. I didn't know any better. I had a great example at home, but have you ever heard of a Mexican mom? ¿Alguna vez has escuchado una mamá mexicana? Italians like that too? Italianos también así? Yeah. Right? And you grow up with fear as your parenting tool. Y creciste con el temor como una herramienta para padres. And we use the devil's tools to raise our children. That sounds horrible, doesn't it? Y usamos las herramientas del diablo para educar a nuestros hijos. Y suena horrible. But it's because we didn't know any better. We didn't know how to do it with love. No sabíamos cómo hacerlo con amor. That's why we got to learn this stuff. It's so important. Por eso tenemos que aprender esto. Es tan importante. It's not easier. No es más fácil. Because you have to exercise freedom. Giving freedom. Necesitas ejercitar el aprender a dar libertad. And that's scary. Y eso da miedo. Getting a little bit ahead. But so if you believe you can be controlled, then you also believe you can control others. Si tú creciste creyendo que puedes ser controlado, entonces crees que puedes controlar a otros. God's goal with us is connection, not distance, not control. His perfect love is fearless. La meta de Dios con nosotros, número 13, es conexión, no distancia ni control, porque su perfecto amor es sin temor. See, our goal in relationships has to be connection. There's two goals. Hay dos metas en las relaciones y nuestra meta debe ser conexión. Tu meta no es conexión, automáticamente es desconexión. If your goal is not connection, it's automatically disconnection. Si tu meta no es conexión, es automáticamente desconexión. God's goal with us is connection, not distance. La meta de Dios con nosotros es conexión, no distancia. You know what happened with Adam and Eve when they sinned? Shame came, condemnation came, and they went and they hid. And they're the ones that put distance. Adán y Eva, cuando estaban en el jardín, pecaron, se fueron a esconder. Y ellos son los que pusieron distancia, no Dios. It wasn't God. No fue Dios el que puso distancia, fueron ellos. God came looking for him. Hey, where are you? Dios vino a buscarlo. ¿Dónde estás? ¿Dónde estás? Su meta siempre ha sido cerrar la distancia entre él y nosotros. His goal, actually, through the whole Bible, the story of him is closing that gap. It's connection. See, God's goal has always been connection. Su meta siempre ha sido conexión. Created us, put us in the garden, walked with man in the cool of the garden. Nos creó, puso en el jardín y caminaba con el hombre. En la frescura del jardín caminaba con el hombre. They messed up. And the plan immediately became, how do we connect again? Se equivocaron, la regaron, y el plan inmediatamente, la meta fue conexión. All right, let's put it in an ark and put me in there with you and take me everywhere. Ponme en un arca, en el arca del pacto, y llévame donde quiera que estés contigo. Conexión, connection, right? Build me a temple so I can be there. I can be in the midst of all of you. Ponme en un templo, hazme un templo para que pueda estar ahí con todos ustedes. Or now I'm going to send my son so that, now through him, I can live in you. You could be my temple. Ahora voy a mandar a mi hijo para que a través de él, ahora yo pueda vivir en ti y tú seas mi templo. Connection is the goal that God has always, and will always pursue with us. La conexión es la meta que Dios siempre ha tenido en mente con nosotros y siempre tendrá y siempre está persiguiendo. Es conexión. Es connection. Not distance, no distancia. Not control, ni el control. You know, God has never wanted to control us. Dios nunca nos quiere controlar. Never. It's not true freedom if there's not an option to mess up. No es libertad verdadera si no hay una opción de regarla. Why else would he put one tree that they couldn't eat from? ¿Por qué más pondría un árbol del que no podían comer? I mean, if I want to make sure they don't mess up, I'm going to make sure there's no option for them to mess up. But that wouldn't be true freedom because there's no option. Do you understand that? Si yo no quisiera que se equivocaran, les quitaría todas las opciones de las que no deberían comer. Porque entonces así me aseguraría. Pero entonces no sería libertad verdadera. Because if there isn't choice, then it isn't true freedom. Si no hay libertad para escoger, no es verdadera libertad. And think about parenting for a moment. Piensa en la manera en la que crías a tus hijos. A lot of times we want to make sure we take out all the bad options. Muchas veces queremos quitar todas las opciones malas. And we want to put them just like in a place where they can't mess up. Queremos ponerlos en un lugar donde no puedan equivocarse. They have to have the option to choose. Tienen que tener la opción de escoger. I can tell my kids, you go to bed at 8, I'm going to give you a spanking. Yo le puedo decir a mis hijos, ¿te vas a dormir a las 8 o te voy a dar unas nalgadas? But right there I'm using the fear of pain as my tool. Pero de esa manera estoy usando mi herramienta de temor como herramienta, ¿sí? El temor al dolor. Or I can give him options. Listen, I'd like for you to go to bed at 8 o'clock, and here's your options, You can do with your time whatever you want. Right now you have 2 hours. You can take your shower now or later. You can have dinner now or later, okay? Like, I'm not going to tell you do it this way, but I'm going to, you have options. If you want to wait till the last second because you're playing a game and then you want to wait till the last second to go get in your shower, as long as you're in bed at 8, I'm okay with that. There's freedom. There's a lot of room for error because they could choose to, be playing till the last minute and then not make it into bed at 8 o'clock. Ellos pueden escoger. Yo les puedo dar una opción de irse a la cama a las 8 y en vez de decirle, ahorita te bañas y ahorita cenas, le puedo decir, tienes 2 horas, tú úsalas como tú quieras, ¿sí? Ahorita puedes comer y después te bañas, o puedes bañarte ahora, o puedes bañarte al último minuto. No importa, solo llega a las 8 a la cama. ¿Sí me entiendes? Y les das opciones cómo van a hacerlo, en vez de decirles exactamente. Tienen libertad y ¿sabes qué? La pueden regar. Y si la riegan, puede que lleguen a último minuto a bañarse y que se les haga tarde. But see, if they make it late, then they'll learn something, right? Because guess what? Well, yeah, you know that if you're late to bed, then the next day, we take it off your bedtime. So next day, well, you chose to go to bed at 7:30 because you missed your bedtime at 8. They know that that's what they're choosing. If you run the red light, you're choosing to get a ticket. Tú sabes que si tú te pasas el alto, estás escogiendo que te den una multa. Right? So if we can parent and we can disciple with the same freedom, right? Si podemos hacerlo con la misma libertad. But you know why people don't? Because they're scared that they'll mess up. Pero ¿sabes por qué a veces la gente no lo hace? Porque tenemos miedo de que la vayan a regar. Tenemos miedo de que se vayan a equivocar. But God is not afraid of sinners. And He's not afraid of our mistakes. Pero Dios no tiene temor de los pecadores, ni tiene miedo de nuestros errores. ¿Es crazy? No, es una locura porque crecimos en una cultura religiosa, yo creo que unas décadas atrás, donde todos pensaban que Dios que si tenías pecado, Dios te rechazaba y no te quería acercar. I think we grew up or we lived in a few decades of religious culture that told us that if we sin, we could not be anywhere close to God. We were like banished, like you're rejected, like you got to get your stuff together, then you come. Right? It was that idea. You can't step into here till you get your act together. Era la idea de que si tienes pecado, arréglate y después vienes. Right? Because God in sin was like, oh no. Like, and if you were in here and then you fell and you sinned or something, it was like, you're done. You are done. Y si estabas en la iglesia y cometías pecado o caías o te equivocabas, pum, se acabó. I mean, you fell from the highest place and you just like, you're like done. Ya, te caías de la gracia de Dios terminado. And that's the idea that we had. As if God was scared of sinners and couldn't come close. But what was Jesus' blood for? Pero si eso es lo que pensamos, entonces ¿de qué fue la sangre de Jesús? Sin is no longer a problem for God. I have a whole message about that. Sin is no longer a problem for God. El pecado ya no es problema para Dios. Ya no es problema para Dios. Because he nailed it, he punished and judged sin on the cross. Porque él castigó y juzgó el pecado de toda la humanidad en la cruz. It didn't go unpunished. It was punished on the cross. No fue sin castigo, fue castigado. Todo el pecado fue castigado en la cruz. And it was your past, your present, and your future sins. Y eran tus pecados del pasado, del presente y del futuro. And a lot of people have a hard time swallowing that because they go, well, the future ones? Y mucha gente le cuesta trabajo pensar, ¿cómo que los del futuro también? Well, let me make it this easy. Thank God it's the future ones because he died 2,000 years ago before you were even born. Déjame decirte de esta manera, gracias a Dios que son los del futuro también porque él murió hace 2,000 años antes de que tú nacieras. So if it didn't count the future ones, we're all in trouble. Si no contaron los del futuro, entonces nosotros estamos en problema. And then religious try to sell us like, okay, no, he forgives you all your sins up until you get saved. Now you're saved, and if you sin, then you're in trouble. It's like, what? So you're telling me I get saved by grace, but I got to keep it by works, by the law? Entonces me dices que tengo que ser salvo por gracia, pero después tengo que mantener mi salvación por la ley? Well, that just makes absolutely no sense. So God's not afraid of sinners or people's mistakes. Most of us are, so we try to control. Dios no tiene miedo de los pecadores ni de los errores, pero nosotros sí. Por eso tratamos de controlar. We try to control because we don't want mistakes and we're afraid of sinners. Tratamos de controlar porque tenemos miedo a los pecadores y no queremos errores. My goodness, what are we going to do the day the worst sinners walk into our church? ¿Qué vamos a hacer el día que los peores pecadores entren a la iglesia? Well, I mean, I know what I'm going to do, but what would you do? You know, how normal religious people would feel about that? It'd be like, oh, I'm not so sure about that. Give him a bath before he comes in. Denle un baño antes de que entre, ¿no? It's like, hold up, I thought we come to Jesus and he cleans us. Yo creí que veníamos a Jesús y él nos limpiaba. We're afraid of sinners sometimes. A veces tenemos miedo a los pecadores. But Jesus wasn't afraid of sinners. He hung out with the tax collectors and prostitutes. Él andaba en los mismos lugares que los trácalas de los contadores de impuestos y las prostitutas. You know that story in Luke about the perfume? Yeah, Luke, about the perfume. It's the woman that came and washed his feet and anointed him also with oil, which is a different one than the one I talked about on Sunday. La mujer que vino en Lucas y que ungió a Jesús con perfume, que es diferente a la de Mateo, Marcos y Juan, que hablé el domingo, es otra. She was a prostitute. Ella era una prostituta. Se le conocía como una mujer indecente. She was known, the Bible says, as an indecent woman. Well, Jesus wasn't like, whoa, but the religious were. Los religiosos sí tuvieron miedo. Los religiosos dijeron, ¿qué no sabes quién es ella? The religious were like, don't you know who she is? Jesus is like, of course I know. Jesús, por supuesto que sé. But I am not scared of sinners or sin or their mistakes. Pero no tiene miedo de pecadores, ni de sus pecados, ni de sus errores. So when someone, all right, let me ask you something. Would people feel free coming to you, or would you feel free going to someone in church to tell them, hey, I'm struggling with pornography? ¿Te sentirías libre para ir con alguien de la iglesia, o alguien se sentiría libre para venir contigo en la iglesia y decirte, hey, estoy batallando con pornografía? You know why most answers is no? Because people are scared of sin. La mayoría de las respuestas son no, porque la gente tiene miedo de pecado. Y entonces no creamos un ambiente vulnerable donde la gente puede venir a pedir ayuda cuando necesita ayuda. And what happens is that we create this environment that doesn't feel safe, and people aren't vulnerable to be able to come and say, I need help. My marriage is in shambles, and I'm a leader at the church. I need help. No pueden decir, mi matrimonio está en ruinas y soy líder en la iglesia y no puedo venir por ayuda. Because religiousness, has told us that at a certain level you can no longer ask for help. Because we'll be like, whoa, what? You? You were preaching last week. Tú estabas predicando la semana pasada. ¿Cómo es posible que tú tengas problemas? Can we create a church in an environment where people feel free to ask for help when they need help because we are not afraid of sin and people's mistakes? Because we don't have to control them, right? They don't have to be just like us. They don't have to be just perfect. We don't have to control everything. And if somebody has problems, they can come and ask for help because they won't be judged. Because we're not scared of their mistakes. No tenemos miedo de sus errores, ni tenemos miedo de sus pecados. Entonces, ¿puede la gente venir a pedir ayuda? Hello. Okay. To start winning the battle between fear and love, I must commit to, number 1, control myself, not others. And number 2, protect and build connection as a priority. Para comenzar a ganar la batalla entre el temor y el amor, debemos comprometernos a, número 1, controlarme a mí mismo, no a los otros. Y número 2, proteger y construir conexiones o la conexión como una prioridad. In any relationship, you have to be responsible for you. You have to learn to control you, to respond and to protect connection. En toda relación necesitas aprender a controlarte a ti mismo, no a los demás. Tú eres responsable por ti. You're responsible for your heart, tu corazón. Eso es lo que eres responsable. Y proteger y construir conexión como la prioridad. We need to protect connection. So the moment you feel like connection is not the goal, it's distance. Now you feel distance from someone, you need to go and you need to protect that, even if it isn't solved yet. Necesitas proteger la conexión aunque no haya sido resuelta. Distance is the worst thing. La distancia es lo peor. It creates so much anxiety. It's better to say, we disagree, but we're staying close and we're talking. And I know what's going on inside of you, and you can know what's going on inside of me. We're not agreeing. It's not resolved, but we're not going to let distance, because then that's disconnection. We want connection even in the midst of disagreement. Puedes tener conexión en medio del desacuerdo. Puedes decir, no estoy de acuerdo con lo que estás haciendo ahorita, pero sigamos hablando. Quiero saber lo que hay en tu corazón. Quiero que sepas lo que hay en mi corazón y mantenernos juntos. That is crazy. The world does not know how to do that. They think, we disagree, goodbye, distance. Dicen, estamos en desacuerdo, así que nos vamos lejos. Distancia. Until it is solved, then we can have connection again. And that's wrong. Hasta que esté resuelto, no podemos tener conexión otra vez. Y eso está mal. Because disconnection is a goal, and it'll keep pulling people apart. Porque la desconexión es una meta y continúa separando gente. I know this mom who is in the disagreement with her son. Hay una mamá que está en desacuerdo con su hijo, particularly with her son's lifestyle, particularmente con el estilo de vida de su hijo. And in a religious setting, en un ambiente religioso, norm would be that they're not talking, right? Es común oír que en un ambiente religioso pues no estarían hablando, ¿verdad? No está de acuerdo cómo está viviendo su vida ella, él, así que no están hablando. When will they talk again? Well, she says, I'll talk to him when he comes back to his senses and he agrees with me. ¿Ah? Ella dice, no voy a hablar con él hasta que él entre en acuerdo conmigo y vuelva a sus sentidos y arregle su vida. ¿Ah? That's very common. Eso es muy común. But that's normally what happens. Eso es lo que normalmente pasa. Not just in religious settings, everywhere. No solamente en ambientes religiosos, en todo. But this mom is amazing. This mom told her son, esta mamá le dijo a su hijo, I don't agree with you. No estoy de acuerdo cómo estás viviendo tu vida. I think you're in deception. Creo que estás en cegueras, en decepción. But I forbid you to stop talking to me or to make distance. Pero te prohíbo que te vayas de aquí, que hagas distancia. We will talk, we will eat together, we will do family, and we'll talk about everything else that you want to talk about, but we will stay together, even in the midst of this disagreement. Pero en medio de todo esto, en medio de este desacuerdo, vamos a seguir siendo familia, vamos a comer juntos, vamos a ir a la iglesia juntos, vamos a hacer esto, aquello juntos. We will still act as a family. Like, that is amazing. Eso es maravilloso. That's crazy. Because that's number one goal is connection. La meta número uno es conexión. And she understands she can't control him. Ella entiende que no lo puede controlar a él. You can't control your kids. No puedes controlar a tus hijos. No puedes controlar a tus hijas. You can't control them. If you think you can, you live in a lie. Si crees que puedes, estás viviendo una mentira. And soon they find out. Y en cuanto ellos se den cuenta, they turn 18, cumplen 18, they're going to run far, far, far away. Van a huir lejos, lejos, lejos. We need to have relationships that have freedom in them. Necesitamos relaciones que tienen libertad en ellos, where we're not trying to control one another, donde no estamos tratando de controlarnos el uno al otro. Where we create safety and connection is a priority. Donde creamos seguridad y la conexión es la prioridad.